Assalamu alaikum. Hello there. And what about ye? And welcome back to Are You Not Qatartained? The interviews from Qatartainment in association with CinemaScholars.com. So we're in that sweet spot between the summer blockbusters and those winter warming movies, the lovely family ones we have coming our way in the next few weeks. So this is celebrating Indy. I have 3 interviews lined up for your listening pleasure, all very different, but all coming from a place of movie passion. So first up, would you believe I have a former Playboy bunny, turned a Baywatch babe, turned horror movie director. I have Ms. Brande Roderick talking about her new 70s homage to horror, which is Wineville. Proper old school stab 'em, practical effects, gory, gnarly horror movie you're going to love. And she tells me all about her influences and how that movie came to be. Next up, on the other end of the scale, if you love Wes Anderson movies like I do, such as Royal Tenenbaums, going to love this new movie called Hippo. And I have one of the bright emerging stars of that movie coming in after Miss Roderick, young Hungarian up-and-comer Lilla Kizlinger. And she was a delight to talk to. So she is lead actress of this new movie called Hippo. Do check it out if you can in select theatres. And last but not least, I have the creative team behind the new Indy homecoming drama called Okie. So I'm joined by the director, Cobb, as well as her leading man and her husband, screenwriter. So you will hear them last today on our show. So this is Qatartainment. If you haven't already, please follow us on Instagram at qatartainment.official. Follow me on Instagram, Glen Dower, at Dower Film, Dower Film. And also we're on Threads, we're on TikTok, and of course we're on YouTube, about to hit 15,000 subscribers. So hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube right now, and leave us a comment, leave us a like, and ring the bell if you haven't already. If you're listening on Spotify, please follow and share with people who might enjoy this type of content. We'd really, really appreciate it. So that is enough from me. So we're going to hear trailers followed by my 3 interviews of the 3 movies, and I really hope you enjoy Indy November. Over to me.
Couple of days, and we're out of here. I promise.
I am your grandfather's little sister.
Walter, this is my Aunt Margaret.
Joe is our jack of all trades. He was your father's right-hand man.
Where'd they find you?
Please, just let me go. I heard a scream.
We have another missing person.
Oh. This place is my world. And it could be yours too.
Ow.
Do not wait up. Maybe if we show them what life is like here, they'll want to stay.
What have you done now?
Something right out of a fairy tale.
Or the Bible.
What could happen in a place called Wineville?
Ms. Roderick, how are you, ma'am?
I'm excellent, Glenn. How are you doing?
I'm really, really good. So we're going to talk about Wineville.
I haven't heard anyone quite say it like that, so I like it.
You'll remember me. You're directing this movie. A surprise, some people may say. We didn't go down a fairy tale route. We didn't go down a princess story. We went dark, dirty, and gnarly.
You know, I'm a very, I guess, demented, sick person. I've been kind of doing stuff in the horror genre, or it's been instilled in me, I should say, since I was probably 6 years old, from a very young age when I watched The Exorcist for the first time with my mom. Then went on, they were huge horror film buffs, and they loved to scare their kids. And so I just really grew up watching all of these really sick movies, like Rabid and The Brood and, of course, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Last House on the Left and all the things, but really sick movies. And I think just, starting at such a young age, watching all of these types of films really, got in my head where I was able to really create some really sick stuff. Plus, I wanted to do something that was a little different, maybe that you hadn't seen before, and really push the envelope.
Yeah, for sure. So the first 5 minutes, we go, this is this type of movie. Okay, here we go. So I wanted to ask you, how important was that prologue to begin with? Because we're very economically, we're in the 70s. We're with a young girl. Is she going to be the final girl or the first victim? We don't know yet. And then the first 5 minutes, oh, she's breaking all the rules of horror genre. But how important was for you to have that prologue to get the audience going and know what sort of movie we're in for?
Well, it was important because I feel like our movie is a bit of a slow burn in the sense that I really wanted you to learn about the characters and why they are the way they are. And the only way to do that is to really have a plot and tell the story. So I wanted to first at least, have the excitement and, the first kill to kind of show you that, oh shit, this is a fucked up family. Someone in this family is killing people. And then it goes through the story really, I'm trying to get you to think who's freaking killing these people. And as you know, we have lots and lots of plot twists. So you think you know, but you don't.
Yeah, I love that part because I just love a twist and I love being got and think, oh, you got me. Yeah. Great.
Yes.
This story was in your mind, like you say, these themes have just been going into you throughout your life. And like we all do, it's Halloween, we've been talking about movies, and the movies that affected me were The Thing and Predator and Alien. So I'm a body horror guy.
Oh, yeah.
When you see the gnarly stuff in this movie, you just go, like that.
Yeah.
But as director, did you have a level you really wanted to go to? And did they bring you different sort of, for example, faces? No, I want gnarlier, I want more cuts, I want more blood. How did you direct the special effects and makeup?
For me, it was very important to have practical effects. I talked to lots of people that produce horror films, and I've been a part of the horror fan community for a very long time, and practical effects are really, really important to the horror fans. And I was so lucky that I got Vincent Guastini to do my practical effects because he now is doing like big, huge blockbuster films. And I was able to meet him on Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror. We worked on that together. So we stayed friends all this time. So he said, Brande, don't worry. I got you. I'm going to help you. So for me, it was like, I let him do what he does best. It's what he knows. It's what he does best. And what he came up with was some pretty sick stuff. Right. And so, yeah, I just put my trust in him, and, he just really came up some really gross stuff.
For sure. And we always need a horror icon, and you came up with one for sure. Let's talk about her. Let's talk about Caroline Hennessy. So monsters aren't born, monsters were made. I think she was born a monster, right? Let's talk about Anne Margaret.
I think that it's hereditary in this family. Because it just keeps getting passed down, as you know. And so I think she was born a monster, and she knows nothing else from what she's seen and what's in her blood. And Caroline Hennessy is, I feel, the only one that could have played this role. She is Aunt Margaret, the way that she embodied that character and actually brought that character to life and made her even more evil than I imagined is just, I feel so lucky that we got her.
I think there's going to be a lot of cosplays with that wig of hers, and that hair, and those. And so it's been on costume as well. The 1970s was such a hot look for women. And did you enjoy revisiting the wardrobes and the music and everything like that when you had to create the mise en scène and the costume for all your characters?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I love the 70s vibe. So some of the pieces I pulled out of my own closet. But yeah, that of course, it's fun to wear, all the 70s garb. But it was also fun trying to find all the cars, because, and luckily we have a lot of friends that have a lot of classic cars. So that was that was a lot of fun, being able to find different cars for each of the characters to drive. So I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, about so much of the characters as well. And one character, of course, is your son in the movie, is also your son in real life, Keaton.
Yes.
What's it like directing him? And he has a few moments in the film. How did you direct him and say, it's all make-believe, it's fine, don't worry? How did you get him through those moments?
He knows that everything's make-believe, because at the time of filming, he was 12. And the way that we prepared him ahead of time is I got him an acting coach, Sandy Marshall, who's just absolutely amazing. And so he worked with her ahead of time so that when he came to set, he was prepared. And I didn't have to do anything because he was already prepared when he came. He's very natural. He memorizes everything and then just comes to set. And when we had our scenes together, they were written in such a way that we both would conversate like that, let's say, aside from the fact that it was, written in the 70s, but still, it was really natural for both of us to just converse with each other because that's what we do every day in real life.
Yeah, it was so natural, and just the back and forth, especially in that scene as well, your opening scene together in the car. It's like, Mom, why are you doing this? And like Mom and a little boy would talk for sure. So he's very sweet, but very convincing as well. So it's really good.
Yeah.
Tell us about the rest of the cast as well. How did you find those guys?
Well, Texas Battle was
the best name ever. Amazing.
Yeah, I know, right? Texas Battle. And he's actually from Texas. But that was a no-brainer because he is already loved in the horror genre with Final Destination and Wrong Turn, and the fact that he's just such a professional, known actor, and that he was perfect for the role. He's just got that real sweetness to him and genuineness, and so I had a lot of chemistry with him, so it was great.
Mm-hmm. And then we had, of course, Casey King, who is
Casey King, yep.
But hard to describe, really. Is a victim, but of course he's a perpetrator. Again, monsters aren't born; they're made, and that's okay. So his performance was really sort of layered. How did you direct him to give that bit of sympathy, but also realize he's involved in this?
All these people, when they auditioned, gave us exactly what we wanted, and they were the characters. So he, again, came to set prepared and ready. Every single person came to set prepared and ready. And they were those characters when we were shooting. And he has that perfect ability to have that kind of sweetness, but then that underlying evilness, and then also that hurt little boy who was abused in many ways. So he was able to, I feel, really show those layers. And when I first saw him in the audition, I was like, this kid is going to be a star. Like, he just has that star quality. So I keep telling him, like, this movie's going to make you a star because I really look at him like that. I think that he's going to do great things.
Yeah, and you kept getting him in the shower as well, I noticed. So, yeah, given those.
Yeah, the hose showers, yeah. Yeah, the girls will like that. And the guys, too.
So what's next for you? So we leave the characters. Are they going to go someplace else? Do they have a happy ending, or do we have a sequel in mind? What do we think? What's happening next for Ryan film?
Well, if I do something, I think that a prequel would be more fun. I think that going into kind of how the evil all started, I think would be kind of fun. And I love doing period pieces, so I think that would be the choice.
I'm excited about that already.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Forward to. And yeah, I've only got a few moments left. So Halloween for you, how important is it for you in your household?
So we love Halloween, and we always dress up as a family theme. We've done Game of Thrones, we've done Stranger Things, we've done Minions, we've done it all. Like, we always dress up as a group theme. And this year they really wanted to be prisoners. Like, oh gosh, they're teenagers. And I'm like, okay, so I said, you can be prisoners as long as we do it like you're the Joker prisoner, right? Because we went and saw Joker. So I'm doing their whole hair green, their face is Joker. They've got the jumpsuits on, and I'm going to be the prison guard. So that's the theme this year.
Action packed. I love it. Can't wait to see you on your Instagram.
Yes.
Ma'am, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you the best of luck. So I'll be sharing with all my readers, all my viewers. Go and see Wineville. Check it out.
Yes, please do. Thank you, Glenn.
Mom!
The boy was Adam, also known as Hippo. The girl was known as Buttercup.
Call me Daddy before you hang up. Please, just once.
My dad's about dead.
Their mother is a peculiar woman named Ethel.
When do you think World War III is gonna happen?
It's hard to say, dear.
You think it might be in my lifetime?
I suppose it could.
Okay, I need a gun.
As homeschooled students, neither Buttercup nor Hippo ever had much interaction outside of one another.
That toy is an outside toy.
It's not a toy, it's a
Okay?
gun.
Outside.
They've arrived. Quick, go get to the nearest closet and I'll go get my
No.
crossbow.
The crossbow will never work, you know that. You need the most powerful thing in the world.
My God finger. Shut your mouth, I said! Why do you look so sad? You should be happy.
A star dies every millisecond, but only once in a millennium does a deity rise up with a potent mega weapon attached to his own hips.
I hope you find a man just like your brother.
Let us bear humble witness.
Lilla, how are you?
Good. I just arrived back from Praga recently. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Talk about Hippo, and of course, you play the beautiful, wonderful Buttercup. What can you tell us about her?
Buttercup was adopted from Hungary to this American family, and she is really religious, and she lost her dad when she was young, and but she would love to experience herself also, I think, as Hippo's character, and a young girl with her younger problems. Maybe she is the most normal in the beginning in the movie, but afterwards, in the end, she also became weird or make weird decisions.
I don't think we can blame her for those decisions, can we? So we're told by Eric Roberts, as a narrator, that she wants to fuck her brother. Okay. But I don't think it's as simple as that. I don't think she has much choice around her, does she? I think it comes from a very organic place where she lost her father, and there's this emotional hole inside her that she wants to fill with a child. And the whole thing about that is she doesn't know paternal love, and her new mother is crazy, as you say. So I think that's what makes Buttercup so special, is that everything she does comes from a place of warmth. Is that what attracted you to her?
Yes, exactly. I think you see really well what's her issues, and I think if you are like a child who gets adopted, I think it's always an issue, and also issue in a lot of different situations. But I can really imagine that she really wants just warmth, and also like that sentence what you mentioned. It's something which is coming to a very special situation where you just in a house with your family whole time, and it's also unbelievable to us. Like, imagine you are living like that.
Your performance as her, it's also very quiet, it's very subtle. Did you find that difficult, just to keep reining yourself in? Because she just is very much, bottom of the camera, bottom third, the way it's filmed by Rappaport, and you just look a lot. You react, or very small and minimal. Did you work on that to make Buttercup very internal? Because she's always thinking, she's always observing, and then when she wants to unleash herself, she will. Did you have to work hard to keep yourself reined in?
I think Mark, the director, he's helped me a lot in like everything. But with that was really easy because he really wanted that natural acting and also just have these emotions in your head, but you don't have to like always have the thoughts, even if you're talking or even if you're just looking. And I think this is the one of the most important thing, that being the present and see how important is every little thing, even if you are not talking or don't have lines in the moment. I think it was because it was really well made by Mark and Kimber. They wrote the script together, and I think everything was really obvious to me, like why she isn't talking or what she think. And it was really nice to work with Mark, this acting thing also.
Great. And you just mentioned Kimball Farley, who of course is Hippo, and he's also the writer of the film. So what was it like having the writer working opposite you?
Oh, I think when the shooting was, Kimball wasn't in a writer position. Of course, sometimes they talk with Mark about stuffs like that, but like when we shooting, we had a scene or blah blah. He was always in the present as an actor and don't change, because it can be tricky, I think, if you are like always changing and watching from different views. But I think I think they wrote together after, of course, consulting while we shot the movie. But in the end, when we shot or he had to act or something, he was with us as an actor.
And he is very funny in the film as well. So some of the language they use is so funny. And early critics are saying it's very similar to Wes Anderson, which I very much agree with, because I was placed very much into the Robert Tenenbaum sort of atmosphere and the voiceover as well, of course. And how did you feel? Because obviously two of the big impacts are in post-production. In the film is in black and white, which is beautiful. And also we have that voiceover, like we talked about, Eric Roberts. What was your instant reaction when you saw the black and white and yourself like that, and how that voiceover says it's cool, smooth Eric Roberts? How did that feel?
Wow, it was really amazing. When I saw the movie first time, I was in my home and watched from projector, and I think it was like somewhere like a first cut, or I don't know, but it was like, wow, it was really amazing to see the whole thing together, and I don't know, it was really, really, really good. And after, when I saw it in big screen in Montreal, where had the premiere, it was again like a very, like, of course I saw it several times, but I've always loved to see how these things, what you saw or what you saw when you shot the movie, but these pieces coming together, and also, like, of course, Eric Roberts' voice is giving such a new aspect of the movie, and it's very always amazing when you see this came together. And it's
as a member of the audience as well. Of course, you're a director yourself, of course, who's seen your IMDb. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Lilla. I really enjoyed Hippo. I really hope it's this audience, and I think you're wonderful in it. So the best of luck with the release, and it was a pleasure to meet you.
It was a pleasure to meet you also. Have a nice day.
How long you back?
I'm not. I gotta be heading back. I was just supposed to pick up some stuff for Hill. You know, ever since Dad passed, she can't bring herself to come back.
Shit, you could barely bring yourself to come back even when your old man was alive and well.
Yeah, anyway, long drive back home, so I should probably...
Come on, man, just kick it for a little bit, huh? You just got here. County Fair's in a couple days.
Yeah, I didn't plan on this being like an extended trip or anything, you know, so I'll probably
one night.
Come on,
than kicking up the old bones.
So, Katie, director. So this followed on from your short film, was also about a writer. Is that a coincidence? Or did you have a certain connection you wanted to follow through with?
Yeah, so the short that was called Dandelions is actually a proof of concept for the feature. So the short itself we kind of made as a kind of like little snapshot of what the feature would be so that we could use it to get funding for the feature. So yeah, they're the exact same, not the exact same story, but they're definitely based on one another for sure.
Oh, great. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. The story was written by the gentleman standing next to you. Right. Starring the gentleman who's sat next to me virtually over there. How was it for you as a female, of course, to direct a gent's story? And did you have to ask their advice on certain things? Like, would a guy say it like this? Would a guy sit like this? Would a guy walk like that? Or did you just take it on your own intuition?
You know, luckily they sat and walked as men do. They are men. But so there was no real there. No, I think, you know, there are some stories that are important to differentiate the gendered differences in those stories. I mean, that is something that is important in some cases, but I do think that there are some stories that are universal. And I think that this story kind of like hits more on that universal feeling of a person coming home and dealing with the what they left behind. And I think that is without gender completely. So while there are, you know, masculine themes in there, and there are, you know, definitely the way that they interact with each other, we can't forget that is part of it. But I think mostly that was stuff that they brought themselves to the project. And when it came to it, it was more just about kind of helping them hone in where they wanted to go with the story and with the characters already. That's my job. So yeah, so it wasn't bad.
Not bad at all. Cool. So shot in 15 days, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And how much of that was shot in sequence? I only ask because Scott did such a great job of looking worse and worse and worse as the days went on. We'll get to that in a second, but how much were you able to shoot in sequence?
Yeah, you know, not a whole lot. When you have 15 days, you kind of are at the mercy of what locations you can get, how long you can be there. So we would, for example, the place that we shot as Louie's dad's home, we had 1 week at that location. So everything that we needed to include in the film from that location, we had to just shoot that week. We had an incredible, art team that made sure that they knew in the sequence of where we were coming from, where we were going, and made sure that his clothes were aged appropriately for that. And then Scott, you know, obviously he always knows where he's at in the story, but then even more than that, he had said before that it was a punishing schedule. So there was no real work when it came to looking exhausted. That was not difficult for any of us at the time.
So, Mr. Bigley, how were you, sir?
Very good, sir. Very good.
Cool. So you were the writer, of course, and you're writing about a writer. How much because we have a line in there that Scott says, writers are a sponge.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly like my worst fear as a writer, that I would do something where I would kind of exploit people I knew, grew up with, loved, especially where I'm from. I have such a connection with it. And when I write, I usually write somewhat from a place of that. And to feel as if, I think everyone feels as if they're an authority on their hometown, you know, but to what extent? And obviously Louis feels that he is such an authority that he has full ownership over not only the place, but the people and their stories. So that is a level of ego that terrifies me, that that, you know, we're all susceptible to, you know, egotism and everything. But man, I would... That it is a fear. And there's been some times where I've been writing stuff where I've stopped and been like, is that mine or my dad's, or is that my grandfather's? Like, what is this in particular? And it's nice to be able to talk to folks back home and who have seen. I sent a couple early cuts of this to them to be like, how do you feel about this? And they were like, oh, it's great. I was like, great, okay, good. You know, like, because it is a fear, because it is about that, but you are writing that
But then be careful when you go home because you never know.
Yeah, I could get socked right in the face.
You don't know.
And there's lots of things in the film itself. I wanted to ask, because there are certain elements that we're not informed about. For example, we don't know exactly what Louis' condition is. We don't know exactly what town we're in. We don't know exactly what he has said about certain characters. We don't know what sort of writer is. Is he crime? Is he blah, blah. Were those in the screenplay? Or do you deliberately leave those bits out for the audience to interpret, or just leave it down to the character study, if you like?
We left it with, we left a lot of those vague, just because I feel like it would be best to kind of project a lot of that information on it. And even the place itself, it's called Okie. We shot in Illinois. We wanted to make it like everywhere USA, and kind of like with, Stephen King is a big influence on that, and so many stories about writers. And, sometimes it's mostly that they're a horror writer, or they're like Salem's Lot. It feels somewhat ambiguous, So there's a lot of those types of writers coming home, and, the pomposity of just being a writer, So yeah, we played with a lot of that stuff. And then we did have some background information that I'd written in there that felt way too expositional. Once you see it, you write it so well, and you're like, the language is so pretty. And then you see that it's in a car for about 8 minutes, and you're like, oh, this is boring. So, figuring out ways to kind of maybe skirt some of that info, and leave it vague. We actually liked it much more.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That's great. Scott, how are you, sir?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm really good. I just want to get back to that point I made before. So I quit alcohol 2.5 years ago. And
same.
Just watching this movie going, I don't miss it.
Yeah.
I just said before, man, you pull off hungover, you pull off drunk, you pull off high. And the morning after, I'm like, dude. And the bit in the hospital at the end where you pull up the Ziploc bag and smell the shirt.
Yeah.
I can smell a vision.
Yeah. Visceral, isn't it?
For sure. So how much of that was method, and how much of that was you just, this is just day 3, I haven't slept. I would like for you just performing those scenes.
Let's just say I definitely drew up experience. I've been in a lot of those positions before. Like you, I haven't had a drink in 2.5 years. So congratulations to you. I mean, to me, I've done this before too. I did a short film a few years ago where, it was very similar, where he's just like on a huge bender and then hangover, and everybody there was like, you look really fucked up, man. Have you been drinking? And it's just, I've had experience, shamefully. And yeah, it wasn't hard to pretend. It wasn't hard to pretend like I was.
There's that one day I was just off camera where he wakes up in the bed. He's like, ah! At the end of it, I was like, had a few of those, dude.
Yeah. I've been there. I've been there many times. And that was the fun part, because, when we shot the short film, I wasn't sober. When we shot the feature, I was. And so, it was an exercise in like, oh man, this is how I used to actually be a lot. And it was kind of, I don't know, for me, it was a bit of a catharsis to sort of look at that, be it, and get it out of my system in a way.
That's really cool. The whole idea as well, going home. So I've been thinking about that recently, just outside of the film. And because I'm from Ireland originally, and if I went home, none of my friends are there anymore. Yeah. One in London, one's in Mexico. I'm in Qatar, in the Middle East, myself right now. What? Is there a difference, you think, between men and women as we grow up? And Kitty contributes as well, of course. Or will it feel like home is home? They want a house, and they want to raise the kids, or us guys, we want to go and travel, or we just feel like home is where we are at the moment. Do you have a feeling of that yourself sometimes?
I mean, Kate, you can chime in. I don't know if it's as gendered as that. I mean, same for me. I go home, not a lot of people are there. And also, I don't even really know what home is for me. I moved around a lot. I say I'm from Texas, but I only actually lived there for 6 years. I've been in Los Angeles longer than anywhere else in my life. So for me now, home is here. I've been in this house almost 15 years. That's the longest place I've lived ever, So the idea of home, I think, is malleable. It's different for everybody. Yeah, I don't want to sound corny, but for me, my home is wherever I am with my family. That should be quilted on something. But I really do feel like home is just kind of where you make it. And for me, that's been Denton, Texas. It's been here. It's been Illinois. It's been Indiana. So, for me coming home, this was kind of something I had to sort of think about when doing this feature was what is my home? You know what I mean? And mine was very internal, personal, familial instead of an actual place and people.
Yeah, I see what you mean, exactly. Yes, this interesting part because the film just made me think about it. I was just thinking about that the other day. Wow, because it's such a malleable thing, like you said. It's a real interesting aspect of that. I just one quick question for you, Scott. The rap, how many takes did it take to get that?
Well, we didn't have a lot of time. I mean, that was...
It's still one shot. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I also, we shot in one direction. It was just like, all right, here we go. We're going to set up. We're going to get it. We're losing light. We're losing time. We got to go.
Oh, sorry.
No. Not to say. I mean, listen, I understand. It was one of those days, we were fighting time. And I got to say, I was like, did we get it? I don't know if we got it. I don't know if we finished the scene. And then they, of course they do. Kevin and Kate and our editor did magic in the editing room and made it look and sound really great. But yeah, I mean, I was stressing about that because it's supposed to be a rap that they know by heart. You know what I mean? So I was in my hotel room, like trying to get it over and over again. And it was one of those days where it's just like, you got 2 takes to got to get this. And
we're up against it. That was one of, when I look back, that was like our hardest day because we had all the pool scene stuff, all of that stuff in one day, a ton of extras. And it was a very tough day. So by the time that was like the last thing we shot. So by the time we got in for that, I was like, dude, we don't have a lot of time for this. And we got it in 2 shots. I mean, it was like, he was amazing. He knew exactly what it was doing.
He's got an offer from Def Jam right now. Incoming 4 tracks.
No, don't you lie. It felt like we were in that setting, that location, the house with the pool and the garage. But I felt like we were there for days and we were there for one day.
You don't know what's going to slow you down and what the tough days really are going to be. You can kind of estimate. I mean, we thought that we knew the fair was going to be a tough day, and it was because there's so many moving parts, and we shut down a place to ride rides, which you're like riding rides, which is fun, but you're so stressed out because you're trying to make your day. And then, the party, we're like, I think we'll be okay. That was really stressful. But then the races we thought were going to be tough, and we were done early. Like it was, you never know.
Just don't put raps into every scene. I think that is...
Put them into every...
Yeah, or make it out. I don't know. Don't ask me.
I just want to have one more question, folks, before my time is up. There was one scene at the end, and I was gripping the side of my chair going, whoa. It's the dunking scene at the fairgrounds. And I thought, whoa. They've loaded him up on shrooms, and he's going in, he's being ducked, he's suffering, he's drowning. And is this the end? Is he not going to make it out of this? Is this their revenge? And then, no spoilers, but that was epic. And I was watching the screener and gripping my chair going, shit.
Yeah.
And sort of direction, writing and acting there. Who takes the credit for making that amazing scene?
Oh, that's
me.
It's Kevin. Kevin, clearly.
She was just forming the words collaborative.
Yeah. And you pulled the rug right out from us.
Hey.
This was like working with Ted. It was 100% collaborative. Obviously, we can't do anything unless it's written in the script. So that is that's the number one thing. So that's definitely is his creativity. But I think making that scene work, it was another one where he didn't have a lot of time, and Scott was such a gamer. We were dunking him in cold water in the middle of the night.
3 a.m. Yeah.
Oh, it was, and we tried. We had a fish tank warmer in that water, but it did not work. Yeah. And then immediately when that scene was done, the dunk tank exploded.
Yeah, it was made by our artist.
Just in time.
It was lightning in a bottle for sure. But the scene was hard. It was hard to shoot. I mean, it was incredibly hard to shoot, but it was more emotionally difficult to shoot because it was, it's a very uncomfortable scene and it's scary kind of, and shooting it kind of felt that way. Even though
it's pivotal. You're like, I hope we land this, because like you said, that's the exact reaction you're going for, something that could be perceived as playful, which is now kind of feels like
taking it on its life.
With tying with him, it's taken on its life of its own. It's off the rails, so what's going to happen? We were always talked about like how the POV of this, it starts off as as a garden state and ends up somewhere where he, at least the movie he thinks he's in is Deliverance at that point. So you're like, wow, what's going to happen in this big nose and all these allegories and things, and what is this going to be, Yeah. So that's awesome. Would love to hear that reaction.
Really, really enjoy it, folks. Okay, my time is up, and it's been a real pleasure meeting you guys. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks. Good to hear.
Appreciate it.
And there we have it, folks. This edition of Are You Not Qatartained? The interviews from Qatartainment in association with CinemaScholars.com. I really hope you enjoyed this episode and you've been inspired to go and check out these indie movies. And of course, if you're like me, you'll dig out and watch any movie you can or while you can. And these three are definitely worth your time. So that is Wineville, that is Hippo, and that is Okie. Do check them out when you can and you will not be disappointed. If you're a horror fan, a quirky comedy fan, or a homecoming drama fan, something for everyone, I hope you will agree. And that's enough from me, your host Glen Dower. Do check me out again on Instagram and Threads at DowerFilm, and head on over to CinemaScholars.com for all these interviews in print, and also our YouTube show at Cinema Scholars channel. I thank you for your time, and I'll see you at the movies.
Are you not entertained?